All right, and welcome back, everyone, to Strange Planet Podcast. And for this week, we are going to be covering the Republican, or more or less, Project 2025. Now, what is Project 2025? It's basically a policy agenda made by the Heritage Foundation. It's about 900 pages, if not a little more, and it is a authoritarian Christian conservative policy, basically. So basically, voting for Trump is going to get you this, or I should say, take away all of this. And I guess to start off, we're going to lead off with just the healthcare based topics and bullet points out of this whole thing, because there is a lot in here and there is a lot being taken away. And let's just start off naming a few. They want to completely ban abortions without any exceptions entirely. They want to cut Social Security and they want to cut Medicare. And they also, if I'm reading this correctly, too, want to end the Affordable Care Act. So what do you guys think about just those few things right there?
It really does seem like this is just a manifesto for like ruling and controlling people, because
It is.
like you said, they want to get rid of all this stuff. They also want to get rid of Medicaid. So if you're old and you rely on that for your health, they want to get rid of that so you have nothing. They want to enforce the Comstock Act, which is to prosecute people who send contraceptives or abortion pills through the mail. So they're looking to like delete all this stuff, anything to do with abortion, anything to do. I mean, they're looking to get rid of the National Institutes of Health, which is basically a government foundation looking into research into health and things of that nature. So, I mean, good luck getting any new drugs for any kind of new things that pop up, or any kind of, psychological health care or stuff like that. That's all out the window. They really are just getting a grip on everything. And like I said, this is just the healthcare portion.
This is just the healthcare portion right now.
This is a lot of what they want to do. They want to control everything you do.
Basically.
I mean, Brooke, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think like you said, like the NIH, what a lot of people don't realize is that, yes, we have pharmaceutical companies, think what you like about them. They come out with some pretty good drugs. They come out with some, controversial drugs. But, we do have, some of the best sort of healthcare in the world. It's expensive as fuck because of those companies. But the NIH is one of the institutions that provides, in addition to, our universities, they provide basic research that pharmaceutical companies won't do because it doesn't really benefit them to do it. And so, we spend a lot of our taxpayer dollars, rightfully so, to study basic things about science and health. And what people don't realize is that, if that wasn't there, maybe some of the pharmaceutical companies might step in, but they won't, because, it's not, they're driven by quarterly profits, and, they don't want to be the ones to like step in and do it. Just there's a lot of so we talked about the Heritage Foundation a little bit, but yeah, it's more of a 1-2 punch, because we have the Heritage Foundation, which is like a policy like think tank, right-wing, conservative, religious, and then we have the other side, which is basically the Federalist Society, which is like on the legal front, also very conservative, leaning Christian. And so between the two major organizations, they want to basically dismantle our country. And it as we know it, and just on the health front, they've already reversed Roe, which, was supposedly a super precedent. You ask any of the justices at their confirmation hearings whether they were going to get rid of Roe. They said, no, no, that's a super precedent. We're not going to touch Roe. Don't worry. And what do they do as soon as they got a case before them? Oh, overturn Roe.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the first right.
Just look for more of that. And, that's not even enough for, the conservatives. If Trump gets elected and he brings, the House, and well, we already have the House, but they keep the House, they take the Senate, expect them to pass a national abortion ban. And if you think the Supreme Court won't uphold it, think again, because they've just, shown themselves to be completely in the pocket of, right-wing billionaires. Some of them who may care about abortions, a lot of them probably don't, but they put people on the court already that, have that kind of Christian conservative mindset. And so, yeah, we're gonna be in trouble for at least a few decades on the legal front. And now they're trying to push a policy agenda that will, be just mountains worse than what we saw in the first Trump administration. Because what a lot of people don't realize is, like, they destroyed a lot of the things at the Justice Department that, just a lot of, like, institutional knowledge and things they just, gutted it, because a lot of people they either got rid of or forced into retirement. The Civil Rights Division was in shambles, um, even more so than it was after the Bush administration. During the Obama administration, there was a lot of repair to our institutions that had to go on because of the corporate, sort of mindset that the Bush administration brought in. And we're talking about civil servants here. These are people who serve, through both administrations. And so, both Democrats and Republicans. So, these people they may have their own political, leanings, but they serve the American public. And so what we don't want, and what Project 2025 does, is they want to replace civil servants with, just,
loyalists,
yes men for the Project 2025 agenda, which is crazy. Yeah. So, let's get back on healthcare. What else do you got for us?
It urges the government to explicitly reject abortion as healthcare. Other than like getting into things
they're
like,
getting rid of Obamacare, which we worked so hard to pass
in the first place.
Right. Like, it's so hard to, like, get any major legislation done in this country anymore. And we finally did something about healthcare, and it's helped millions and millions of people like, the ability to actually get healthcare. And it's helped, a lot of poor people to be able to afford healthcare.
Yeah. So this way they don't have to sell their homes to pay medical bills.
It's ridiculous. And they're not, denied for having pre-existing conditions. Like, there are so many great, outcomes that have happened because of Obamacare. And it survived, the Supreme Court. It survived all these challenges. And, they just want to get rid of it. And go back to what? Just
that's
people,
my next...
dying in the streets and not getting the health care that they deserve, not getting the long, over their lifetime, getting good health care. Like, is that what they want for people? They just want people
they
to
don't care.
Develop diseases and suffer over time, so that as they get older, they're just going to suffer and then not be able to have any health care, and then fill up hospitals. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, because the craziest part about that is it says they're going to end Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, but it doesn't say what they're going to replace it with. So
I'm still waiting. Trump, when he was running in 2016, he said he was going to repeal and replace Obamacare. And when asked what he was going to replace it with, his answer was, well, something terrific.
and we never
still
got
haven't
it.
figured out what that something terrific is. He still hasn't, had a policy proposal of what that terrific thing that he would replace Obamacare with would be. So we're still waiting for that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only 8 years later.
Basically, and he had 4 years to do something, and he still didn't do a goddamn thing. So,
And to jump in on this real quick for purposes, just like people may say, or Trump may sit there and say to himself or say to other people like, hey, I don't know anything about Project 2025. I'm not associated with any way. Here are some fun facts. There are over 140 people on the Heritage Foundation that were former Trump administrative employees that were working for him in the White House. I mean,
one of them told him about this
maybe,
shit.
yeah, 5-10 people, maybe, maybe I don't know them, but no, when there's 140 people out of, there's over 200 administrative officials, but like CNN apparently found out 140 of them are from like the White House itself. And it's not a coincidence. It's really not a coincidence, folks. Stop being blinded by the things that people say to you and open your eyes.
basically,
he knows exactly what it is. He really does.
This is on the edge of being law in the land, where it's not just the healthcare; it's the Department of Justice. It's so many different aspects of where they're coming at it. They're basically trying to make America into a church state, where the rule of law is the rule of God.
Not just that, but a corporate.
Yeah, a corporate version of that, which is even weirder.
It's all about control.
It's
trying to control.
It's pretty much
more.
We're going to be a
it's not.
country.
It's not that weird. There was another country that sort of had the marriage between corporatism and sort of a religious theme. You know what that was? Nazi Germany.
Germany.
Nazi Germany.
Oh wow! Look at that, folks. History does repeat itself.
Around, with crosses, and also, they were very, corporate. What fascism? A lot of fascism is corporatism. Like Putin has his, all of his, large corporate friends who benefit from him being in power. They're the ones who, it's sort of like in a feudalistic state almost, where you have nobles who support the king, and as long as you're a noble, you swear fealty to the king, but then the king takes care of you because he keeps your nobility status up. And it's the same thing that they want from a President Trump. President Trump, he's one of those quote unquote nobles. He's supposedly a billionaire, or at least he likes to play one on TV.
Right.
But, after Letitia James gets done with him, he might not have that much money anymore. But we'll see. If he gets back in office,
that's what he gets
back in office. Like he'll just keep his fucking money.
One other thing I wanted to throw in what Mark said a little earlier was, don't take his word for it. Please do me that favor. He knows goddamn well what this Project 2025 is. Just like he didn't know who Epstein was or David Duke, right? So if you actually take his word and believe that, that makes you a fucking idiot.
On video. Trump is on video, thanking and praising the president of the Heritage Foundation. So he knows. He knows
good and well.
Yes,
what he says now about it, he's just trying to distance himself because he knows this is
because he knows
bad
it's bad news. He knows people won't like it.
Yeah, you can't sell this, right?
He excites his base who are very pro-fascist, like who look at Putin just like Trump and say, "Oh, look at that! That's a strong leader. Why aren't we friends with Putin?" Like,
right?
That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our nation, was when Trump stood next to Putin and called him so big and so powerful and so strong. Like, an American president would never say that, even about an ally's leader.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't say, "Oh, yes, Macron from France, he's so big and he's so strong and he's so powerful. Like,
I
like
don't
we
think he
don't
was
say that about
talking.
our allies. Why the fuck would we say that about an adversary?
Yeah,
That is just
exactly, exactly.
insane.
I
To have a
I
United
get
States
no
president
joy.
say that shit.
I get no joy in mentioning this, but I don't think he was talking about political power. I think they went into a little room and Putin gave him a little, bongy bongy. So yeah, he's big and strong. Oh, really? Is that why you fart when you walk now, Mr. President or Mr. Former President?
He's what Putin would call a useful idiot. That's basically what he is, and
Oh
a
yeah,
puppet at
He's
that
an
matter
idiot in
too.
some respects, but he also knows what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on in terms of foreign policy. Joe Biden last night actually had a news conference that at the end of the NATO summit, and for those who were a little bit worried about Biden losing his step after that debate, uh, you were reassured if you saw that news conference because he has such a command of foreign policy. Still, he hasn't missed a step. Uh, and, even on Trump's best day, he couldn't spout 1% of what Biden, could talk about during that. And that just shows you that there's like a double standard for how, uh, the media and consequently, a lot of Americans judge our presidents. Like Trump doesn't say anything of substance, like
Ever,
at the
ever.
debate or ever. He doesn't
Yeah,
know policy. He doesn't know anything
you
that's
don't know
going
a
on in the world,
goddamn
and that's
thing.
dangerous. That's dangerous because he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
yeah.
So, you know that
He's a
that is
good
like the
bullshit
most
artist. That's
yeah
what it
that
is.
he
He gets up
doesn't
there and
know,
he
but
bullshits his way through everything.
he literally doesn't know what he doesn't know. And so
That
he
can be
has to either rely on people to tell him, which he doesn't really have the best people, despite what he claims.
Yeah.
Some of
yeah,
the
no, he
people he
doesn't.
and especially during his second term, he's only going to hire yes men, people
Yeah.
that saw how horrible he was as the president the first term. They're not serving again. He's going to, the people like General Mattis and they're not going to be serving under the second Trump administration. It's just going to be people who are yes men and who have extreme policy agendas. And they will not challenge the president. They will tell him only what they think is they need to get their agenda done.
They're just a bunch of
Trump
loyalists. That's it.
Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care
Why
because
would
he has no
Yeah.
interest in like reading or taking notes. He doesn't care.
No.
He's not he's not a student of foreign policy. He doesn't know what's going on. And so like if you it's just so unfair how Biden could talk about complex foreign policy and they're like, oh well, I mean you missed something. Whereas Trump couldn't even do that for 1 minute. Like he couldn't do 1% of what Biden, would do.
Oh, of course
It's just
not.
embarrassing.
Yeah, of course not. This is what you get when you get unqualified people in roles. And just so you know, God forbid this clown gets elected, the whole damn government's going to be filled with people that probably don't belong there. So it's going to be really, really a shit show. That's really the bottom
Yeah,
line.
like I said,
So
the few
you get a
people that were
choice.
qualified, last time during his first administration that resigned and then left and took issue with him and are not endorsing him now, they're not going to be back in his administration.
No,
It's just going to be people that
just pawns of his.
are single-minded and have extreme policy agendas that will push them and only tell Trump what they think will help those agendas.
So like right now, you have the choice to make the right decision here because there's a lot of rights that are on the line right now. This is really this whole list here is basically a list of things going to be taken away that we currently have right now. So if you decide to vote for this clown for whatever fucking reason, don't be surprised when this suddenly becomes more of a dictatorship than you'll ever think that America can become because
Yeah.
that's exactly what's in this entire project.
I agree. If you vote for Trump, I don't want to hear, "Oh my God, I didn't expect this to happen." That's when
It's
the
right there.
nearest person next to you should just smack you upside the head
Yeah, it's right there
because
in
you should
plain
have seen it
text.
coming. Friggin', it's you almost think to yourself, "We can't be this stupid," and then you
Yeah,
look at
right.
it and you're like, "No, we're
For
not this
real.
stupid. We're even stupider." It's
It's yeah, or maybe they
It's not
think we
just
are.
stupid. It's not just stupid. There's a cruelty to his agenda and to the people that
oh,
follow.
absolutely. He
They're
has
cruel.
no
They're just
But those
cruel
tact,
people.
people lose it
They
too.
are.
no
But those people
poise. He's
will
got no
lose it too.
class whatsoever. He is the most.
The way they speak about other Americans is just
It's
cruel.
insane. Yeah, it's
It's
absolutely
cruel.
insane.
Yeah.
They speak violently about liberals and Democrats.
It's keeping the
They
divide.
speak so disparagingly.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's shameful.
if you
It's
ever
really
wondered
shameful.
how Nazism took hold in a country,
This is how.
we are living through a test of that right
And you have
Yeah.
a choice.
in terms
Remember
of
that.
how masses of people can become cruel and mean to their fellow citizens.
Yeah, that's facts right there. But even that, even as much as that shouldn't be on the side, but even if you put that aside, this long list, which is so long that we probably won't even be able to cover it all in this one episode tonight, it's all going to be taken away. Like, I'm not making this up. It's there. If you don't believe me, you can go read it yourself. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like we need to get our head out of our ass and make sure this don't happen if you value your rights, because
So
they can be taken away just like that, according to this.
So years ago, in the year 2000, there was supposedly a Nostradamus prediction about the Antichrist being blonde and blue-eyed and destroying the world by starting the World War III. I think he was off about 24 years. So, I mean, if you really want to see this world burn, go ahead and vote for Trump, because that's what's going to happen. He's going to fuck up this country, and he's going to blow the shit out of anybody else that says otherwise.
Yep.
And you as a person don't matter.
And remember, even if you're dumb enough to vote for him, this still affects you. Just because you
Yeah.
voted for him doesn't mean you're immune to
Yeah, you're not
everything on this
immune.
list.
Oh, I'm a Trump
You know what I
voter. He
mean?
don't give
Like-
a. He wants your money. He
Yeah,
wants your
like,
money.
it's
And he
gonna
wants to
happen
stick
to
you in the
too.
ground.
Yeah, like as everybody knows that's been following this podcast, I've been talking for weeks about helping and trying any way possible to get women's right to choose back. Now there's going to be a whole long list of shit that we'll probably never get back if he gets put back in office. So
Yeah,
let's get our head out
there's-
of our ass, America.
Isn't it supposedly like the sanctity of some kind of like spousal whatever, where it's just like the woman doesn't matter anymore at this point?
There was some, yeah,
They're,
there was.
They're looking to dial back things to like the 1900s,
Yeah,
and it's
marriage
going to be
equality.
bad.
It was on the list, and marriage equality. Yep.
I mean, what's going on here, people? Is this really what you want? Is this really what, this great country that once was about freedom and pursuing happiness to now coddling you because we're rich and you're poor? That's basically what it comes down to. It's about the rich
It's always
controlling
been a
the
wage
poor.
war. That's true.
Oh yeah, it's also re-waging culture wars.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of what I think the right has resented. It's like they resent, diversity. They resent women having
this shows
political
that, too.
power and a voice. They resent, everyone in the LGBTQ community. They resent, they just resent anyone who's not a white Christian conservative male.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they think that
Heterosexual white Christian conservative male. You missed that
Right.
major part.
Yep. And they're just like, hell bent on because this country used to be, for white heterosexual Christian conservative males. That their rights were protected. Property owning, excuse me. That was like the original. If you own property and you're a white Christian conservative heterosexual male, this country, was built for you. But over time, the promise of our nation was extended to more and more people. and they're very resentful of that.
Oh, entirely.
And
Yep.
they want to see that reversed, because they feel like other people enjoying the same rights that they have somehow reduces their power. No,
Exactly.
it just
Like,
gives everyone the power that you have for yourselves all this time.
yeah, and adding more fuel to your fire there. A couple of other things on my list that I created here. They want to ban African American and gender studies in all levels of education. They also,
Yep. So yeah, so like, anything that happened in history, like
it didn't
slavery,
happen. Yeah, right. Like,
no need to study that.
exactly.
No need to study how things, progress throughout history and why things are the way they are now.
Right.
You know,
And
like
even
it's just.
crazier, they want to ban books and all curriculum about slavery. So now they want to try to rewrite
I wonder
history.
why.
Yeah, right. So it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like,
So they can go, oh, what is wrong with black people? They can't get shit together. Meanwhile, it's not just slavery, but policies throughout, like Jim Crow, fucking redlining. These are policies that have existed, not just slavery, but throughout American history, and even going up to before the financial crisis with, racial disparities in terms of who got predatory loans by banks.
mhm.
That caused the subprime mortgage crisis, targeted toward minorities. So we're not going to study that. We're not going to see how banks like targeted minorities to sell them subprime loans.
Right. We're just going to look the other way, I guess.
We're just going to look the other way and pretend that everything is like colorblind.
Yeah. Basically,
That's just asinine.
the only thing not
And
on this list is like they're not going to issue cult uniforms. You know, you know what I mean? It's the only thing not on this list, I think. But scary as it is, and actually another little bullet point I'm going to throw in, it's somewhat relative to this, is they actually also want to end civil rights and DEI projections in the government.
DEI protect.
That's what it says here.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Should probably say that.
There you go. That's the acronym.
I mean, they want to prosecute anti-white racism. Just think about that, folks.
Right? Like there couldn't be more signs saying to run away from this. You know what I mean? So like,
sounds very Nazi-esque to me.
Yeah, it's right, basically Mein Kampf.
Let's take this one step further. You ready for this? The project recommends the arrest, detention, and deportation of undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. by using the military to capture and place them in internment camps.
Hey, that doesn't sound Nazi-esque at all.
Right? And he kind of did something similar to that already.
Let's blame immigrants for our problems. And
they
let's
also
put them in camps.
They also want to use the military for deploying domestic law enforcement. Military for domestic law enforcement. That means, if you're arguing with your wife about something, the military can come knock on your door and be like, all right, guys, come with us.
Yeah, basically.
It's insanity, and it's
entirely.
Fascist. I just hope that a year from now, this will be a distant memory. We'll have reelected Joe Biden, and
a fond, distant memory where Biden's running the country again, and Trump is in jail where he belongs.
Yeah,
because he does belong in jail. People, he did crimes, and he's trying to get away with it.
And he's still trying. And to tell you the truth, that's part of the reason why I feel like he's running for president, because he knows if he wins, he'll probably get away with it all. But if he loses, we're going to be seeing a lot of trials.
Get out of jail free card.
Yeah, basically. And that's about all we got for this week, folks. Right now, it looks like your rights are at stake, but you have the choice to make the right decision here. And if you want to fact check us, feel free to go ahead and take a look at that 900-page.
Yeah, do some research for yourself, folks.
Yeah, End of America, and see it for yourself, because it's all there in plain English. So be sure to like, share, and
That's why
subscribe.
Trump is distancing himself from it.
Yeah, he's trying. But if you're, be smart. Be smart enough to know that he's full of shit. Because at this point, I mean, he's full of shit about everything. But, but I guess until next week, thanks for watching. Peace.
Yeah, guys.
People.